So I went into episode 131 fully believing that Lucario is Roy's weakest Pokemon, that it has been struggling recently, and that it definitely needs help. It needs some sort of boost in order to get it up to par. Well, this episode actually ended up validating how I felt because Lucario lost to Master Mayonnaise's Hawlucha, and it didn't just lose, it wasn't even close. Lucario didn't really do anything. Its hesitation, which I pointed out in my preview discussion for episode 131, the seeming lack of confidence, the self-doubt, cropped up again during this battle, confirming that there is a problem. It even refused to listen to Roy, and Roy couldn't even Mega Evolve it. Now yes, these two things were attributed to Hawlucha using Encore on it, but Encore doesn't really work this way. It doesn't provoke the Pokemon, it isn't a taunt, forcing you to only attack. Encore just locks a Pokemon into using the last move it used. It doesn't prevent Mega Evolution, and it doesn't stop a Pokemon from listening to its trainer. So this was kind of bizarre, which is why, in my eyes, it only made it even clearer that there are some deeper issues with Roy and Lucario. At one point, I even wondered if their bond just isn't strong enough anymore, that they've somehow grown apart, though this doesn't seem to be the case. Additionally, Master Mayonnaise straight up said that Lucario's aura hasn't reached its full potential yet, which is even more evidence that Lucario definitely still has room to grow and ways to go. Episode 131 concluded fittingly with Roy and Lucario realizing that they do need to improve and deciding resolutely that they will do so. Episode 132 will focus on exactly this, Roy and Lucario addressing their problems and failings through training. More specifically, they will train and then they will have a rematch with Hawlucha and Master Mayonnaise, in which they will put themselves to the test again, overcome whatever is holding them back, and reach their potential. And of course, Roy will finally be able to Mega Evolve Lucario into Mega Lucario Z, who, somewhat surprisingly, is shown outright in the preview. I would say this is a big spoiler, but not really because there was never really any doubt that Roy and Lucario would overcome their issues and succeed in unlocking Mega Lucario Z. Still, it is noteworthy that the preview actually shows us Mega Lucario Z, considering that even when it's obvious that an evolution will happen, previews usually don't spoil it like this. This is especially notable because Roy's Lucario is shiny, something that of course carries over to Mega Lucario Z, making it extra special and cool, yet they still chose to spoil it. I also love that the battlefield for the rematch is an actual wrestling ring that they will seemingly construct specifically for this battle, and the Master Mayonnaise is even hilariously dressed like a wrestler, so they will fully embrace Hawlucha's identity and force Lucario into battling on Hawlucha's terms. This is a fun twist, but obviously, since Roy and Lucario will manage to unlock Mega Lucario Z, and that the only way they do this is by overcoming what's holding them back, I'm sure they will win even if they don't have the field advantage. Now, as exciting as seeing Mega Lucario Z will undoubtedly be, the battle itself might not necessarily be all that amazing from a technical standpoint, because the previous one really wasn't. So I don't have especially high expectations in terms of animation, choreography, and intensity. Especially given that the animation still hasn't fully recovered in this series for the most part. But despite this, it should still be an entertaining battle because even though the battle in episode 131 wasn't all that good, I was still laughing the entire time because Master Mayonnaise and Hawlucha are just hilarious. So the rematch will undoubtedly still be fun and exciting even if it isn't spectacular. Now, this battle will take place at Diana's castle because the other focus of this episode is that Liko and the company will recruit her to be one of the trainers who will provide a Tera type in the final battle. More specifically, they want her Pecharunt to provide poison. Pecharunt is a ghost and poison type Pokemon though, so in theory, there's essentially a 50-50 chance that its Tera type is poison. It's a coin flip. The preview shows that they will have Pagogo terrestrialize Pecharunt, likely so that they can check what its Tera type actually is. But the preview cuts away right before the reveal. Realistically though, it pretty much has to be poison, right? For story reasons. That's the only type they still need. They even already have someone who can provide Ghost, aka Amegio, so Pecharunt being Ghost instead won't help them. Therefore, while it's technically a coin flip, the narrative basically requires it to land on poison. Otherwise, Pecharunt and Diana won't really be able to contribute to the plan, at least not with a Tera type. That said, it actually would be interesting if Pecharunt's Tera type is not poison. If its Tera type turns out to be Ghost, or maybe even something else, the anime could potentially reference the in-game mechanic of changing a Pokemon's Tera type. In the games, you can do this by collecting and turning in Tera shards of the type you want to change to. This could be a neat way to bring another element from the games into the anime. At the same time though, I do understand why they probably won't go in this direction. At this point in the story, it would basically turn into a filler-like fetch quest where the characters have to go gather shards just to fix the problem so they can proceed. And considering how quickly they settled on who will provide each Tera type, it would feel a bit strange to suddenly slow things down and dedicate time towards a side quest when we are already this close to the final battle. Plus, this would also take away from the effort and time they invested into finding and selecting the Pokemon that will provide a Tera type. Not to mention, it would take away merit and value from the chosen ones, because they could have just gathered the Tera shards from the start and granted the Tera types they needed to whatever Pokemon they wanted. So even though the preview keeps Pecharunt's Tera type a mystery, I'm willing to bet that it's poison. It's actually kind of funny though that the preview chose to hide Pecharunt's Tera type, but openly showed Mega Lucario Z. Like, yeah, neither outcome is a surprise, but you would think that they would save both for the episode itself, and that if they were going to spoil one, it would be Pecharunt's Tera type, which is the less significant reveal. I am also looking forward to seeing Diana again, and very much ready for more of Master Mayonnaise's shenanigans. Because, again, he and Hawlucha were the most entertaining part of episode 131. Finally, the preview also shows Ult training as well. I don't expect any major developments from him in this episode, since the focus will clearly be on Roy and Lucario, but it is still good that he will be training too. Given that he lost to Hassel and it wasn't even close, plus he couldn't outdo Roy in the battle against Rayquaza in order to claim the sky-high Pokemon for himself. So Ult could definitely use some improvement as well. The preview, however, doesn't make it clear how extensive the training will be or whether it will lead to anything significant right away. But yeah, episode 132 is shaping up to be a fun and entertaining episode. We will see Roy and Lucario confront their shortcomings, train to overcome them, and ultimately unlock Mega Lucario Z, which should lead to a very cool and exciting moment, even if the battle itself might not be anything particularly special or memorable. Diana will return, and Pecharunt's poison Tera type will likely be confirmed, pushing the story forward and closer to the final battle against the Explorers. Episode 132 will air on March 20, and I'm definitely excited for it. Once it airs, I will of course review it eventually, so please stay tuned for that. Also, please do let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Are you excited for this episode? Are you excited for Mega Lucario Z? And is Pecharunt's Tera type poison? If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, feel free to click the links on screen. And if you'd like to support the channel and help me keep making content like this, you can find all the ways to do so in the description and in the pinned comment. Whether it's through a small donation or just watching and sharing, every bit of support means the world to me. Thank you so very much for watching, and let's meet again in the next video.